Adel. Hey, there you are.
Yeah, Adel has joined. Hello, Adel.
Great, fantastic. So I think we're all set to go. This event is a Globinar. It does a couple things. We're going to be talking about doing business in Dubai and all across the UAE. It's also a representation of the relaunch of the Global Chamber Dubai. This is a chapter that we had set up several years ago with a woman who was a trailing spouse. Her husband got moved to Africa, and so that didn't work out anymore in terms of setting up and working and getting the Global Chamber Dubai moving forward. So we've been looking for just the right person, and oh my goodness, did we get a great person for Dubai, and a great team. Adel Awadhi is very deeply connected, not just across UAE, but all across the Middle East. If you ever, and I suggest you go to his LinkedIn profile. We need to get Global Chamber on the LinkedIn profile. But when you look at some of the other information, including being co-founder and chairman of the corporate group, you begin to realize his background is so strong in business, and not just in the UAE, but all across the world, and certainly across the region. His connectivity in a variety of ways it is very significant and very important for us, because when we find and look for Global Chamber executive directors, we look for people who are well connected, who are doing business in the region, and well connected is business and government and other entities in the area, and ideally have a strong team. And Adel has that plus where he has a very strong team, and you see Anand on the call today, and also Barath, both are part of his team and both are significant participants in Global Chamber as well. In fact, Anand, who is fielding a lot of the questions that we get from members that are interested in various opportunities in UAE. So Adel, thank you so much for taking the time today. Thank you, and congratulations on your new role as Executive Director of Global Chamber Dubai. And we're looking forward to a great conversation today. I understand that you'll be presenting on doing business in Dubai and UAE, and then you've got 3 people lined up who will corroborate what you're saying, and also give their perspectives on what they think about doing business in Dubai. And then we're going to open up the floor. So there are people, and we started earlier before we did the recording with Zach Selch, who has been going to Dubai for decades. And so we'd love to hear from any and all of you with your perspectives and also any questions that you have. So Adel, without further ado, please go ahead. We look forward to learning more today.
Thanks, Doug, for the warm introduction, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to be here today and representing Global Chamber with the UAE chapter, and I understand also that we have few colleagues from different countries also participating today in this soft launch of the chapter here. And thanks, yes, for the introduction also of my team here today, and as well I've got my partner as well with me, and I think he will join soon. That's Ayman Al-Awadhi as well, as Executive Director for the Global Chapter, and we're delighted that we're starting this, and we're looking forward to really getting members on board for the UAE chapter, as well as setting the stone and milestones for upcoming events for this year. It's a good time, I think, that we are launching this one. As many of you have been to Dubai or been already in Dubai, have recently visited the Expo 2020 event, which is one of the global events that are running every couple of years in different countries. And I think the Expo itself had many hundreds, I would say, of events, whether you call it business events or networking or culture related or tourism or travel or whatever it is, the cause for that. But it's all connecting everybody and lots of networking and lots of events. And I think with the UAE chapter, it would be great that we would start this post the expo. So we will kind of be, I would say, a small legacy of the expo where we carry those networkings that we have seen in Dubai with different of more than 190 countries maybe, and different governments and different topics, and all they were towards opportunities, were towards mobility and sustainability, that the three areas of the expo which they focused. And I think it will be a sustainable approach to take this forward and to utilize that platform and get connected to everybody through different countries under one umbrella, that's Global Chamber. So today I would like to, for some of you who are out of UAE, would be one of the main reasons is to be part of this, is to understand the environmental, the business opportunities in UAE and this region. So if you allow me today, I would go through a few slides and give you some of the highlights in terms of the opportunities. And if you are aware about the business opportunities of UAE, maybe some of these facts and numbers could be a bit giving you a different perspective. So my presentation today would be a part of the what we have achieved in 2021, despite it was a global pandemic things and that had an impact on economy. But nevertheless, we could see some of the recovery things in United Arab Emirates, as well as some of the target sectors that we are going to, or the government is going to be focusing on in the coming years. So just allow me to put the presentation. Share screen.
While we're doing that, I see some people coming in, so welcome. Nupur from India. I see Larry Hart in Ohio. Rubby Golo from Ghana. Welcome. Adel, it's coming up, so thank you. We're all set to go.
Good. So just talking about the economy of Dubai, and many of you may be not aware that Dubai particularly, the GDP is purely towards tourism and business and services that is offering. So we are a bit of less than 5% that we get from oil as a Dubai. But of course, majority of those GDP as a UAE level would be maybe covering more oils towards the Abu Dhabi, the capital, and some of the Northern Emirates. But Dubai is 95% of the GDP. It comes from the retail, tourism, and as you can see, financial services and so forth. So in terms of numbers of the visitors, we've seen gradually increase in the year 2021, last year. And of course, I think with the expo finishing and also the pandemic going a bit away from restrictions and so forth, we expect that the number in 2022 to hit somewhere around maybe over 12 million. So we're looking positive towards that, as Dubai has always been the gateway and the hub between the East and West, with the mode of transport, strong infrastructures, and the airports always being number one in the throughput of the passengers. And then we've got the large operator DP World, and with terminals and ports. We also have the land connection to the GCC countries. Many of you who have visited Dubai Expo, maybe you've seen UAE Pavilion. As mentioned, it's a place where it's the hub for the trade, and you could see the numbers are reflected here, and even we are you can see that the growth on 21 is increasing and follows by 2022. We've talked about the infrastructures and how UAE and Dubai particularly has been ranked in terms of having good infrastructure, whether it's airports or if it's ports or if it's transportation and roads and so forth. The country is going toward a vision of a smart city. So almost most of the transactions are gone online when you be dealing with e-government. And we went also this year, last year actually, we went into the paperless. So there's no more papers are used in the government transactions. Opportunities on information technology, again, as a smart city, they're uplifting a lot of these into the blockchain services and so forth. So there's a lot of potential for technology improvement in the Emirates here in City. There's a lot of focus on technology, also on infrastructure base. So things like Internet of Things, things of artificial intelligence, and many other technologies that are welcoming to this region. Again, technology could also touch on the green economy. We could see the plan of Dubai and UAE towards 2030 and 2050. We are now in 2022 working around 12 to 15%. So we've got a bit way to go on the green technology as well. Tourism and hospitality, the UAE or Dubai particularly, it's ranked top 5 in terms of number of rooms available. And that goes with the number of the hotels on a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star in different categories. And also on the number of events and venues and meetings that holds every year. There are major global, I would say, top 5 again events that happens in the world are things related to food, healthcare, oil and gas in Abu Dhabi, and so forth. So there's regional and international major events that touches Dubai. In terms of banking and finance, there is a lot of rules, regulations, and compliance have been issued under the DIFC, for example. It's a financial district, and they're also rated 10th in the international recognition by the Banker magazine, and they've got thousands of companies that have been registered in the DIFC. A lot of those companies are into financial services, and also the Dubai as a government also introduced Islamic economies, and that goes also with the services and a lot of compliance and rules, regulations that have been set because of the transactions and because of the business and environment requirement. So they have introduced DIFC courts, arbitrations, and will services, and many other registered, whether it's individuals or law firms registrations in this Vincent or in this facility. In terms of, there is a bit of focus on the future, robotics, artificial intelligence, opportunities in the innovations. So a lot of focus on these aspects when it comes to manufacturing compared to the traditional setting factories and assembly lines, but more of they're looking at innovation things, robotics, AI, in different sectors, such as it could be in aerospace, it could be on maritime, startups and technologies, fintech, machinery equipment, pharmaceutical, education. So these are kind of sectors that the government is looking to really advance in terms of the manufacturing. And the healthcare, it's been top 10, I think, destinations for medical tourism. there's a lot of infrastructure being built in terms of clinics and hospitals, as well as attracting research and R&Ds and labs and so forth. And there are specific free zones that are showcasing these things, and there are thousands of licensed companies that they're operating from different parts of the world. With also recent development, even we have Dubai Healthcare City, for example. We've got Dubai Science Park and few other zones and economic zones and free zones that are supporting these kind of initiatives. And education level, it's a destination for many international universities, since we have more than or almost, I think, 200 nationalities here. So we've got students that are enrolled in different schools and in different colleges, but still government are looking for advanced technologies on things that they could offer here. And that could be postgraduates, it could be bachelors, it could be, even now they're looking at programs of things related to artificial intelligence and the future and the space and these kind of programs. And this is kind of a big an overview of the opportunities, but we would definitely in the upcoming months, we would be focusing on a specific maybe sectors and launching, whether it's workshop groups or maybe events, and we will announce these in a couple of weeks. We would like also to introduce a few of the colleagues that are based and operating here in Dubai, just to share maybe in a few minutes their success stories and what they have seen in Dubai. Maybe I would start with Mrs. Nada, if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, Adel, how are you? Thanks for this opportunity. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nada. We are a consultancy firm here based in Dubai. We are called 360 BD. We are a consultancy firm who started like 1 year ago. We've been in the business for the past 10 years here in Dubai, but we've been fully established now since a year. We are helping, let's say, private sectors, government, through our services, establishing their beliefs, their vision, their mission through the services that we provide. Mainly, we are specialized or focusing on the entrepreneurs, helping them through our stories or our services that we are helping them with through a variety of services under the business development. And this is all got actually inspired us or make us more stronger and stronger and stability in our business through the UAE, let's say, vision that it's been created through the years, and we saw the growth that is happening every single day. This is what inspires us, and every day we can see new projects are coming on board, new growth is coming, and we have, like, for example, the biggest example in front of us, which is inspire all the entrepreneurs, which is Expo 2020, and how actually it is bring everyone from all over the world to actually give them that their dreams, their hopes can come true. And their vision through connecting minds and creating the future through bringing so many companies from all over the world to create this vision and mission that they believe in. This is what also inspire us eventually through their journeys. For that, we believe that bringing all of this international businesses through this platform, which is the Global Chamber, is giving us today the opportunity to actually be all together and to share our success stories, share our businesses in Dubai, and actually present it in a very high standard, services. We can exchange this new presentive and show the inspire that we deliver through the services that Dubai actually achieved and gave us the platforms and the tools that helped us to achieve our stories and to achieve our successful businesses stories with the variety tools that they help us with. And with what Adel actually shows now, I think I don't have enough words to add on. I think it is very obvious through the slides that he showed us how much it's been a very structured platform and a very strong platform that UAE is actually presenting for all the companies and globally, and inviting everyone and give them the platform and the tools to start and believe in their vision and mission. So this is what I can actually add from my side, Mr. Adel, and I would like to thank you and to thank the Global Chamber for this opportunity. And we are looking forward to see more connections through the international companies in Dubai and in UAE in the coming future.
Thanks, Nada. We always we thrive to see these kind of successful stories, and thanks for sharing your words. And Mr. Walid, he is an Emirati entrepreneur, and he might need to share with you his experience of how he has helped Emirati companies or even foreign companies are based in UAE, and how they have taken them outside of Dubai, and where is that, and how it's been successful, these journeys. So, Sir Walid, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Adel. I appreciate the opportunity to meet and interact with our colleagues from the chamber. Basically, our backgrounds, myself and Adel, is at cross path. We both of us went through Jebel Ali Free Zone development, so we interacted with a lot of companies. I took a path which is probably I focus from UAE to abroad, and
Hello.
I build. Hello.
Yeah, the voice is clear. Carry on.
Please continue.
So I focused actually outside the country. We launched an organization called UAE Trade Center together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and our main objective is actually to open opportunities for UAE companies, whether overseas, and particularly Africa. We are an Africa-centric focus, where we see great opportunities for UAE companies or international companies that we work with to open opportunities into Africa. I think Africa, probably the new frontier that I think might have a great opportunity for international company to expand and to actually have a better yield when it comes to profit or opportunity. So we are focused. We have offices in Kenya, in Egypt now. We have also expanding into Ghana. We have also joint project in these countries. So we are a company that built capacity using Dubai as a springboard to Africa, and also we have some presence also in the ex-CIS countries. And for sure, we are involved in the GCC and as well as Egypt in particular. So that's our profile. We have companies. One, the UAE Trade Center. Also, we have a company called UAE Dubai Consultancy, which is involved in what we call the soft diplomacy projects in these countries. So that's in short what we do. Thank you very much, Adel.
Thank you, Mr. Walid. And it's very nice to see an Emirati entrepreneur has taken companies and has taken a different route of a strategy in entering into a new market. And Africa is very close to UAE, and it has a very strong bilateral relations with many of these countries, mainly for trade purposes. And we have witnessed this in the past 3 decades with the increase of not only the passenger throughputs, but in terms of even going to those markets and managing some of their large infrastructure, ports or maybe agreements on agriculture, on few other opportunities. So that's great, and we would definitely want to focus in one of our upcoming events on how we could assist companies and take them to that part of the world. And the third, I would like to introduce Marco.
May I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Walid, could you please put your full contact information in the chat area so that everybody knows how to get a hold of you? There are some people who are very interested in what you do and being connected to you. And if you can share that information, that would be great. And in the follow-up of this meeting, we'll get that information out. But just so that everybody here can connect with you, it'd be great to understand more. Sorry, Adel, go ahead, please.
No problem, Doug. We thought that the third person would be a bit of a person or a government that is representing one out of 190 government pavilions in Dubai Expo, and we wanted to share one example of the those kind of governments' participation and what they have done and what they have benefited and what opportunities they have seen. So we would like to introduce Mr. Marco from Slovenian government and present their experience and what you have seen now. I think you've been based 6 months here in Dubai, and we would like to echo this for the future and how we can take these examples forward.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Adel. I hope that you can hear me. Thank you for giving me the floor, and thank you for this opportunity to be here in front of all of you. So we are the Business Development Agency at the Ministry of Economy of the Government of Republic of Slovenia. And our country has decided for a very large business program to be here at Expo to present our country in the region and worldwide. So we have selected around 300 companies to participate at this world exhibition. So we had like 85 official partners throughout the whole 6 months, and additional more than 200 companies in the delegations. And for the task of this kind of size, to help these companies to present themselves in the region, to get connected to the local and regional and the global markets, we realized that we need some help, and we have chosen the corporate group to help us with Mr. Adel Awadhi. And I think it was a very good choice because we have had a lot of help in these 6 months. We have cooperated together in over 20 business events, gathering hundreds of important business people and helping our companies to make the connections. So we have cooperated in very different industries, ranging from smart factories and new materials in the beginning, and then was digitalization, and then logistics and transport, and global goals, healthcare, food, agriculture. Now we continue with creative industries for fashion. We will continue with water. So, for instance, during the Fashion Week, we have brought to the pavilion Mr. Dubai for our designers. It was like a very nice event. And also we have brought, with the help of TCG, with your help, important investors, with whom we will continue cooperation also for the next 5 years. So this is like for us a beginning in this area for a continuation of the existing activities. We're looking forward to continue also at our pavilion, which will stay for the next years in the region, because our companies, I mean, they're very interested. We have to expand out of this typical 500 kilometers export area that we have. So we will continue. We are very happy, and Expo is ending, but new time is coming. This is like we are making the new world. So the logo of Expo is join us in making the new world, to connect the minds and create the future, as Nada said. So this is what we're doing, and we're very happy. And I'm sending you best regards to all of you here at the Global Chamber from Slovenia Pavilion, where we are right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. The floor is back to you, Doug. I think we will have maybe question answer sessions.
That would be great. I'm wondering, I know there's at least one person in the audience, maybe probably many, that have experience with with Dubai. You'll probably have some questions and some comments. Perhaps we can start with Zach Selch, who is wrote the book on global sales. It's called Global Sales. Zach, you've been going to Dubai for decades. You've seen the transformation. You've done a lot of work there. What resonated with you in the conversation so far? And do you have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, so Dubai is a great, first of all, it's a great hub. I had a discussion actually on LinkedIn a few weeks ago with people about where to place a regional sales manager for the Middle East. And I actually think that Dubai has gotten to the point where it's a good place to put a regional sales manager for EMEA. It makes sense even today to put a European sales manager in Dubai. So the contacts from the airport are fantastic to get places. It's a good work environment. So it's a great place to put salespeople. It's a very good market. Like people were saying, you know, the medical industry is growing and building very well. It's a great market for medical products. There are a lot of headquarters going up. So for people selling things like business services, sales tech, fintech, all of those things, there's a pretty good market in Dubai. I would say, the one thing I would just say about this is very often when people look at the Middle East and the Gulf in particular, there's a tendency that people have to consider it very exotic. And what I hear from a lot of people is, you know, they find the prince who can make a connection for them and they get very excited about that. And I always talk to people and they say, yeah, I met this guy and he's a member of the royal family and he's going to get me business everywhere. And the bottom line is purchases are still done in a rational way in the Middle East. I mean, you have to keep in mind there is a system to selling in the Middle East. It is a system, and it's almost never happens that you meet some guy on a plane who says, you know, my cousin's a prince, I can get you all the business you need. Everybody falls for that, and it never works out as well as people think. You know, you need salespeople on the ground, you need good distributors, you need the right business contacts, and they have to follow the right processes. A great deal of purchasing in the Gulf is done through governments, and they work through tender processes just like governments do in other places, right? So you have to have the right distributor who knows how to do this. It isn't, I just encounter people all the time. And I was saying to some people a while back, like they, you know, people will say, well, I'm doing fantastic business in the Gulf. I've been there 6 times. I met great people. We've had some great meals. How much money have you brought out? Well, no, it's too early, Zach. Don't ask me that. You know, we're doing this, we're doing that. How much money? You know, tell me about the money. Show me the money. I've sold over $100 million in the Gulf. There's a lot of money there. It's possible to get money out of it. If you keep going back and forth and having, you know, shisha and very nice dinners, but you're not seeing any money, you're doing something wrong. And that's the thing. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to over the past 2 years who talk about how wonderfully they're doing in the Gulf, and they haven't brought a penny out of it yet. So, you know, it's all about the money. And if you know people who are looking to build up their sales organizations in the Gulf, or for that matter, I've been doing some work lately on companies based in the Gulf that are building up their sales organizations and training their sales organizations. I've done some training recently for Dubai-based companies. So if you know people like that who want to actually sell and close business and get money out of it, that's what I do. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody about that. So that's basically, you know, what my take is on the Gulf. There's a lot of money there. People do work in a rational manner. You're not going to make money from going to parties and meeting people. You got to sell. And that's sort of what I do. That's it.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. Adel, I'm going to go back to you and just get any comments that you have on what Zach talked about. And I see I want to eventually get to Rubby. I see Omar in Egypt. Thank you for joining us today. If you have some things you'd like to say, and I'd like to get to Barath and Anand as well. Adel, any response to what Zach talked about?
Well, I mean, in terms of, I'm not sure he was talking about UAE level or GCC in particular, but you know, I kind of disagree. Maybe not everything money. There are some people also wants to enjoy their life here. Maybe it's retirement, or maybe they've got wealth of money that their parents sent them, or they inherited something, so they want to enjoy their life. But we can't just talk about money. But in reality, yes. I mean, when doing business here, the government has announced recently different laws, regulations to support foreign ownerships and foreign direct investment, where in the past there was always a different way to do business. That was in certain activities, there were 49, 51%. So 51% was in the name of local, although the local was having a side kind of agreement where they didn't own that equity of 51, but that was the law and commercial law of the UAE. But that has been uplifted a year back, and there's a lot of laws, regulations have been supporting for foreign direct investments and giving more power and more of autonomy for investors. But nevertheless, you have to make your objective clear, whether you want to do your own business. There are ways you can learn from your business, and what he shared with us, Zach, it could be true. And sometimes you might come across people saying that I am from this family, or I am being here, whether he's an Emirati or he's a non-Emirati expat, have been living here. I know how to get you the business and other things. But then you need to make the objective clear, and you need to test the water. Don't give him any exclusivity. Don't give him all the things, and cross-check. Today, we are working in an environment that you can access to tools, and you can do due diligence on these individuals. You can go to the Chamber of Commerce Dubai. You can go to some different places to check and validate this kind of partnerships, or this kind of agent, or this kind of representative. So make your business objective clear. What do you want? Some people, they want an equity partner. Some people, they want to do their own business. And again, UAE has opened the door and options for these kind of businesses. So there are more than 40 free zones, economic zones, that you can go and get registered yourself. And you have also things you can do it within the mainland, where you need to have a kind of a local representative or agent in some sort of activities, not all of them, because that now rules has changed. So always I would say, do your due diligence, do your business objectives clear, test the water, and go forward.
Thank you. Appreciate the qualifications and the additional information. Global Change is growing in 525 chapters around the world. One of our strongest chapters in the region is in Accra, Ghana, and Rubby Golo is our executive director there. Rubby, Walid introduced the concept and the idea of trade between UAE and Ghana. I'm presuming, given all of your trade experience, you've been involved there as well. Is there anything you'd like to add, or any questions that you have?
Thank you, Doug, for the floor. Hello to everyone. It was very refreshing to listen to the previous speakers highlighting Africa so well. I just want to add that indeed, there's a lot of opportunities in Africa. Many countries have not looked to explore business opportunities here. This is the time. So if you do know anyone looking to explore this market, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to guide you through your export journey. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Bharat Shankar, you, I think, have some additional comments as well. Are you available to add yours?
Yes, Doug. Thank you so much. And it's an absolute pleasure to be in the midst of such a wide array of individuals having such diverse backgrounds and strong expertise. I just wanted to contribute a small little validation of the points made forth by Adel and the other speakers, that especially that of Zach, when he was talking about how Dubai is a very reliable hub to set up your operations in, and that was strongly supported by Adel's opening speech itself. The points are, number one, Dubai is an extremely safe city to be in. It's one of the safest resident cities across the whole world. It's also being validated by Adel's point on how many people want to make Dubai their second home. So as market entry and as a way for residents and education, Dubai is a hub. So we heard the business side of the speakers where they talked about how strong it is. I want to add that even for education, for students and for the student community, as well as for the residents here and the dependents, everyone knows about COVID-19, but I think it's important to say that Dubai and UAE have been very strong in how they have recovered, bounced back, and they have rode high on the recovery path from COVID. It's one of the first cities leading the world in terms of how to get out of COVID. And I just wanted to support these points by saying that the potential is very strong for the city and the economy in the future. Thank you. Thank you, Doug, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bharath. Bharath is part of our team at Global Chamber Dubai. And so thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Omar, I'm not sure if you're available, but I want to thank you for your recent support of a member in Egypt. Omar is very involved in the trade in and out of Egypt. Are you available to make any comments about your activities in Dubai and
Hi, Doug.
you'd like to share?
Hi, Doug. Thank you very much, Doug, for the kind introduction. Great to be with a very nice, distinguished list of guests. I'm Omar El Nagar. I run a company for commercial consulting for agricultural producers of fresh fruits and vegetables. I've been in the industry for 22 years now. I worked for producers in Egypt and Spain, now back in Egypt, running my small business. So what we do is we help producers find their strategy, find new markets, find new trade agreements, enter new markets, and focusing more on market trends. So where to sell the fruit, achieve top dollar for their produce. And we continue to do that across the board, not just with producers in Egypt, but we help producers and growers out of Spain, Morocco, South Africa. And currently, I've worked with, of course, the UAE, a lovely and beautiful country. Been there many times. I can't remember how many times, but served the market there for many years. Many of the retailers in the UAE market today that have big names, we've worked with them. Of course, it's a great market to enter. You just need to do your due diligence, understand the market, have a proper business plan. Like Zach said, it's not that easy, just as it is anywhere else. You have to understand your market, do your homework very well before you go. It is expensive, just as it is everywhere now. Inflation is coming up everywhere around the globe, as everyone can see. So, Dubai and the United Arab Emirates are not different than the rest of the world. So things are becoming more expensive. People just need to do their due diligence quite well before going to a market like Dubai or the United Arab Emirates. But it's a fantastic market. It's one of the leading global financial capitals of the world today. So it's a fantastic market. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support of Global Chamber. Really appreciate it. We are going to finish up a little bit early, so we only have about 5 or 6 minutes left. So what I'd like to do now is just open up the floor. And if I'd ask you, if you're a member of Global Chamber, feel free to ask a question at this point, but keep it very brief so we can maybe do more than one. So members of Global Chamber will take you as a priority. What questions do you have and what comments? And I see Dwight, if you want to mention something, out of Riyadh. I see Kyle and other members, of course. Emily, thank you for joining. Emily Reynolds of Casentis. I think you have a team of people that are coming into Dubai coming up very soon. They help companies land in the United States. Thank you for joining us. Oh, look at that, Dotan. You do work in UAE? I'd be very curious to see what your thoughts are, what you've heard. Do you have any quick questions or comments?
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity. So actually, I'm doing my market research to the UAE, and I'm planning to open my own company in Abu Dhabi soon. So my question for Adel, please, if you can elaborate a bit more about the agriculture sector, the local production, if it's something that about to grow, more information, I will be thankful. Thank you.
Can I ask again? It's about the agriculture, you said, production?
Yes, yes, local production, and if this market is about to grow, the local production in the UAE.
For the agriculture, right?
Yeah.
Food, yeah. Yeah, so for that one, I mean, the government, as I said, and as I presented, one of the focus area was more on the manufacturing, but that slide specifically was talking about Dubai's strategy and Dubai's vision. But as a UAE, and especially other Emirates, such as the capital, Abu Dhabi, is looking a lot of attraction in terms of supporting anything related to food security and food production. So there's a lot of emphasis in terms of supporting this kind of sectors. And lately, for example, the Abu Dhabi government, they have signed an agreement with a private sector, a company that was owned by a Syrian and based in UAE for the past 4 decades. And this would be developing between Abu Dhabi port and this businessman to create a 4-kilometer square of food infrastructure that will attract supply chain at all levels, whether it's farmers or whether it's packaging or whether it's assembly lines or whether it's going vertical dairy products or organic foods or beverages and so forth. So they have a plan to have that infrastructure ready in the next, I think, 15 to 18 months. And that will attract a lot of global player and taking services from this facility. So there is a lot of incentives would be laid down, and the government also working to support these kind of productions and manufacturing.
Thank you.
If I may just add to that point, which Adel said, just adding that one of the priority sectors for 100% foreign direct investment and full ownership is agriculture. So you find food production, you find agri-tech, and you find these industries and these sectors and companies setting up more businesses inside UAE. Those would be existing companies within the last year or so that you can use as a reference point. That would be helpful to see your path if you decide to set forward your footsteps. Thank you.
Thank you. Great qualification. And Dotan, I'm guessing you're going to be in our Global Chamber Tel Aviv event in a couple 2.5 hours or so. So thank you for all that you do and all the trade work that you do. Everybody should know Dotan. One maybe final question relates to India, because I see several of our India team are on the line. And Aparna, if you're available, would love to hear from you. Aparna Ranadive of Global Chamber Mumbai, and also Shanker Damodaran of Global Chamber Ahmedabad. I see Gopal, who's out of Kolkata. I see our member Mona Contractor. There is a special relationship with India, isn't there, between Dubai in India and Aparna? Are you available to chat? Do you have a moment?
Hi, Doug. Thank you so much for having me here. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm just not going to come onto the camera. I don't look too good, so yeah, I'm going to keep it restricted just to the phone. So it was a very informative session that Mr. Awadhi gave and explained about Dubai. And you're right in saying that India has a special connection with Dubai. There is over the last couple of years, there have been a lot of right from the political interventions and interactions. There've been a lot of focus around there. So, and a lot of interest definitely generated in working of people in Dubai, as well as initiating business opportunities there. So whether it is Dubai or it is Abu Dhabi or it is rest of the GCC as well, there has been a lot of interest there. So we would definitely look for people who could be interested in opportunities there and find ways of.
I want John.
No, I'll tell you a story. Listen, I'll tell you.
Sorry about that.
No, that's perfectly all right. So yes, I was saying that, I would definitely love to support people who would have interest in Dubai, and if they're looking for opportunities from here to and work with Mr. Awadhi on that.
Thank you very much. We do need to finish up 5 minutes early, so we only have a couple more minutes left. So I'm going to turn the floor back over to Adel, and maybe if you could answer that question or address, the special relationship with India and any opportunities that you see, and then overall, just please go ahead and wrap up any other comments that you wanted to make today.
Yeah, again, I mean, UAE is very, not because I'm from UAE, but maybe everybody has been recently noticing that they started strongly going back to relationship with the neighborhoods and relationship with different countries in terms of whether that's trade agreement or political agreement or things related to social or any sector. So with India recently, again, there's a bit of focus and a bit of there are a few initiatives that they're working, both governments and making things happen. So recently there was also some sort of more trade agreements have been signed, and I think there is more attractions on both directions coming into the country, inward and outward, and we're also looking to do something this year with our neighbor Indian country to do some of the opportunities showcase into UAE. And I think these will continue post Expo, as I mentioned.
Really appreciate you sharing today, Adel, the information, and the team, Bharath and Anand. Thank you for your help and support. Next steps with the chapter are continued. The building of the advisory board, events that are coming up. Adel referenced some of those, so stay in touch. Definitely connect up with us along the way for growth across UAE. Thank you again for your help and support. We're now going to be shifting into another event around the mining industry. Not a big market segment in UAE, but very big in many other countries, including Mexico. And Gabriela Castro, who's our Global Chamber Querétaro, Mexico leader, she is leading that conversation. So thank you, Adel. Thank you for the information today, and we'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody, for joining today and for your additional comments. Have a great day.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.